We can have hugs later. All right. Good morning, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to a regular meeting of the Madera County Board of Supervisors. Today is Tuesday, June 18th, 2024. Are there any additions to the agenda?
There are no additions.
I heard this morning that I should look down here to Jay to see if there's any additions. But that's all right. Council, would you mind reading into our closed session items?
Not at all, Chair, members of the board. Under Government Code Section 54957.6, you have conference with your labor negotiators. Your agency designated representatives are Joel Bugay, Assistant County Administrative Officer, and Sabrina Mendez, Human Resources Manager. The employee organization is all units except elected officials under unrepresented employees, but all other classifications. Under Government Code Section 54956.9, you have an anticipated litigation discussion with your legal counsel due to significant exposure pursuant to paragraph 2 of subdivision D of that government code, and that's one case. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any members of the public who have any comments regarding closed session items? Anybody online?
No comments online.
Very good. Thank you. We will move into closed session. Morning, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to a regular meeting of the Madera County Board of Supervisors. Today is Tuesday, June 18th, 2024. Council, are there any reportable items out of closed session?
Chairman, there are no reportable actions from closed session. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. We'll move on to the time when we remember those who were meaningful to us in their memory. Is there somebody'd like to mention at this time or to recognize? If not, we will move on to the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance. And today, leading us in the invocation is Pastor Derek Pearl from the First Christian Church of Madera.
Good morning, and on behalf of the Madera Ministerial Association, thank you for this privilege. Will you pray with me, please? Father God, we thank you for today. We thank you for this board that has come together to discuss the business of Madera County, and ask that you would continue to guide and direct them. We lift up every item on the agenda to you. We thank you for how you continue to guide us and bless us. We thank you for this day. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, republic for which it stands, one nation.
Thank you. We'll move on to public comment. The first 15 minutes of each regular session are set aside for members of the public to address the board on any matter under the jurisdiction of the board, but not appearing on the agenda. The board will not take action on any items presented under public comment. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Anyone addressing the board is asked to print their name clearly on the speaker sheet at the podium and state their name and county of residence for the record. Good morning.
Good morning. Morning, Chairman and members of the board. Amy Toller, Director of Animal Services. I appreciate the opportunity to address you today regarding the recent pause of intaking healthy animals by Animal Services. It's important to clarify that our department also continued to accept sick and injured animals during this time. Recently, Animal Services has been managing a significant case involving a property with excessive number of animals. In preparation for the intake of these animals, our dedicated staff worked tirelessly to ready our facility for this influx. We also reached out to several rescue groups to help us alleviate the animal population in our shelter. During this period, we successfully rehomed 78 animals. With that, we facilitated 11 adoptions, reunited 7 animals with their owners, and saw 60 animals rescued by various groups. This proactive effort allowed us to clear the space in one of our buildings ahead of the anticipated intake. On June 12th, Animal Services executed an abatement warrant, resulting in the surrender of 89 dogs and 91 cats. All 180 animals were transferred to our shelter, where they are currently receiving care, including feeding, watering, and medication. Since then, 22 dogs have been transferred to rescue organizations. 4 dogs were returned to their owners. And as I speak today, we have 2 prominent rescue groups in the Bay Area taking animals from our shelter right now for rescue. I want to express gratitude to the public and to the board for your understanding, patience during this challenging time. I understand that the temporary pause of our services and limitations may have inconvenienced our city and our county residents. But we are committed to resuming normal operations promptly this week. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Good morning, Chair, members of the board, Jared with Public Works. Just wanted to take a quick opportunity to remind everybody that we do have our household hazardous waste drop-off event that's coming up this weekend at Yosemite High School. That will be from 8 to 12. So we encourage people to prepare now and get ready to get in line because it's probably going to be a little bit of a wait. But we've done these events successfully over the last several years and have usually a good turnout. I do want to encourage folks to make sure that they review the information that's been shared out through various avenues to make sure that they understand what can and cannot be brought to the event so that we don't have any challenges with that. So looking forward to having a good event and reporting out on what we were able to get taken in once that's done.
Very good. Thank you very much. Is there any other public comment? Is there anybody online?
No comments online.
Very good. Thank you. We'll move on to the consent calendar. Are there any items on the consent calendar that one of my colleagues like to have pulled for further discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I would like.
Nobody saw my lips move.
I believe this is the multiverse theory.
Armando, we need your assistance, please.
Chair, if I might, while we wait, and I know we'll hear
Is
this
it-
again, and I'm sorry.
Is this real life? Okay.
On item AA, the department has reported that there's a typographical error with number 2, that the RUR should match the number of the transfer of appropriations. And it should read 23-145.
We're good to go.
Okay, good. I was just gonna say we got a vanishing act over here. Okay. No. Okay, AA. Okay, so supervisor, you had an item you wanted to have further discussion on.
If you ever want proof we're living in a simulation, that was it right there. I just had a comment on item AD, Adam David.
Okay. Very good. Yeah.
Go ahead. So this is for the engineering amendment to the original contract of $70,000 to MD10A for the water tank. I just wanted to note that the addition was $70,000, but there was $21,000 of administrative fees in that addition, which seems excessive to me. And I know it is grant funded, but you know, the $21,000, and it looked like it was couched in a couple different areas, but you know, $21,000 for a $49,000 project for administrative fees just seems excessively high.
Yes, Mr. Carter.
Yes, sure, Jared with Public Works. I understand your concern and noted. You know, it's unfortunate that sometimes when we have these long drawn out projects that these cost escalators don't necessarily get factored into the contract, and so sometimes they're made up after the fact. But you know, we'll definitely try to keep a closer eye on that and make sure we're covering and addressing that on the onset so we don't have things come up.
Great, thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Any other comments?
Yes, Chair, I had a request on R, monthly report for employee transactions. I'm hopeful that in our future reports, we can include vacant and unfunded positions in that report.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Any comments from the public?
No comments online.
Very good. Council had mentioned the issue with AA. Council, I'm sorry, would you mind just doing that one more time? There's a little disruption when you were explaining it.
Yes, thank you, Chair. So the department reported that the AA number 2, the number should read 23-145. It should match number 1 for the RUR, and it reads 22-122. So maybe if the board desires to make that amendment as part of the motion, in the backup, there's no 22-1-22, so it's just an error that appears on the agenda. And
Very good. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I'll move to approve with the amendment to AA.
Second,
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley.
yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Chairman Poitras.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to our discussion items. Our first item is the presentation of the proclamation recognizing June 19th, 2024 as Juneteenth. We were to have City Council member Anita Evans here to receive the proclamation, but she's not here, so we believed it would be appropriate tomorrow during the Juneteenth ceremony to present the proclamation at that time. So I'm going to hand the proclamation over to my colleague, Vice Chair Gonzalez, and she will have that honor to present the proclamation tomorrow on behalf of the board. So we'll move on to item 6B.
Board of Supervisors Department, presentation of a proclamation recognizing Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month and the longest day.
All right. Hit the button so that's um, on the microphone where it's, so it's green and we can hear you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Supervisor, and good morning to everybody. My name is Mario Pena. I am the new Regional Director for the Alzheimer's Association for the Central Valley. Tremendously honored to be here this morning. In terms of the Alzheimer's Association, today's Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month is to really bring awareness to the families of those that are suffering with Alzheimer's and dementia. And it's usually a topic that's never discussed, across the communities. And we know that as we continue to try to remain fit, eat well, and do what we can to live best. But there's one thing that keeps progressing, and that's aging. And no matter how many times we try to avert that, we're all going to need assistance eventually. So as a nonprofit organization, we strive to educate and provide many resources, tools, and programs to the constituents, all available at no cost. So we're really, honored to be here in the community and love to help support, your constituents and everyone else here in the community that are watching online. So really looking forward to the collaboration, and thank you so much for the acknowledgement.
Very good. Thank you very much. And we've always appreciated the organization's partnership and support. And I know our various services here in the county. So it's really, really good. And as and it's also a consequence of it's one of these positive things. We have generally speaking, we're living longer, but with living longer, then we also experience more of the onset of some of the brain diseases and so forth. So this is a great thing. So do my colleagues have any comments? Any comments from the public regarding this item? What we like to do is we do have a proclamation we like to present to you. So I'm going to ask all my colleagues to join me down here, and we'll make that presentation.
County amending section 6.04.290 and section 6.04.320 of chapter 6.04, section 18.04.290 of chapter 18.04, and section 18.94.030 of chapter 18.94, and adding section 18.04.88 of the Madera County Code relating to animal kennels, waive the first reading and set the second reading for July, 9th, 2024.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Matt Treber, Chief of Development Services. This is a team effort. So we have Jamie Bax, our Director of Community Economic Development, and Amy Toller, our Animal Services Director. Again, thank you to the clerk for reading that in. This is an amendment to Chapter 6 and Chapter 18 of the County Code, dealing specifically with domesticated animals such as dogs and cats. And the one big thing I did want to just call out is, although we do talk about a limit of more than 5 dogs and 5 cats, right? That's not a 5 total, it's 5 individual species of animal. This ordinance change and amendment does provide the opportunity for someone who wants more to simply get a kennel license from our animal control office, right? Which would require spaying and neutering and inspection of the facility. This would be a complaint basis, so I'll let Amy speak if in regards to enforcement. But this would not be our code enforcement officers rolling around now looking for anybody who may have 6 dogs. It would be a complaint basis, and again, they simply need to get a license from animal control if they want to house and have more than those 5 dogs or 5 cats on that. So with that, team's available for any questions the board may have for us.
Very good. Are there any questions of our staff? Yes, Supervisor.
This only relates to domesticated animals or a lot of farm? That affect-
Yeah, so this does not speak to farm animals, and this is for domesticated. So I'm sure many farms have 20 cats running around, right, outside. That would not be something. It's those cats that would be housed in a home or in kennels and those things, right, would be under this premise.
Right.
So it doesn't deal with farm animals. It's those
I
domesticated.
assumed that, but I didn't public not coming on with.
Very good. Are there any other questions?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have a question
Mhm.
related, and I know it's complaint driven, but you know, when a dog or cat has a litter, it's frequently more than 4. So is there anything pertaining to that in the ordinance?
So there's nothing that states when your dog does give birth and has a litter of 8 that they would be in that 5. With your kennel permit, it's adult. So if you are breeding animals, that's a different license. That's a commercial license. You're breeding for profit. So if you're breeding your animal and you are going to be having more than 5, you would still need a permit. It'd just be a commercial kennel license for that. With this permit, or kennel permit, or just non-commercial, if they are breeding, that's something that we could talk with them about, helping them gain their animals spayed and neutered if it's an unwanted litter. If it was a wanted litter, then they would have to get a commercial permit if they're planning on breeding and selling.
Great, thank you.
Mr. Supervisor.
Yeah, did I see something in the ordinance about, I think 4 months? If they're less than 4 months, then that doesn't count towards the 5. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Awesome.
Yep.
Okay.
Again, yep.
Yeah. The other question I have, what's the limitations on neighboring counties? Is there a standard out there?
So yes, the surrounding counties, their limits are 4.
Or we're higher than the surrounding counties?
Very good. Any other questions, comments? Are there any members of the public that have any questions or comments regarding this item? Seeing and hearing none, I'll bring the item back for action.
I move we waive the first reading, set the second hearing, July 9th, I mean.
I'll
Second.
second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Rogers,
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh,
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez,
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley,
Yes.
Chairman Poitras,
Yes,
vote passes 5-0.
thank you. 6D.
County Administration Department, discussion and consideration of entering into a grant agreement with North Fork Community Development Council in the amount of $30,000 to be funded by the county's American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA, allocations for fiscal year 2023-2024, and authorize the chairman to sign.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Jessica Leon, County Administration. So the item before you is a grant agreement between the county and the North Fork Community Development Council in the amount of $30,000. If you recall, on May 7, 2024, your board approved to reallocate $30,000 of the unobligated ARPA funds, and this would formalize that so that the county can issue the funds.
Very good. Thank you, Jessica. Are there any questions? Supervisor McCauley, you have any? Okay. Are there any members of the public that have a question or comment?
No
Seeing and
comment
hearing
on that.
none, I'll accept the motion for action.
Move to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor McCauley,
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh,
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers,
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez,
Yes.
Chairman Poitras,
Yes,
vote passes 5-0.
thank you. 6E.
County Administration Department, ARPA Public Works Budget Adjustments. Discussion and consideration of approval of the receipt of unanticipated revenue number 23-153 in the amount of $3,698,000. $98,912 derived from MD 10A Madera Ranchos operating transfers in special districts to building and improvement fiscal year 2023-2024. 4 votes are required. Discussion and consideration of approval of receipt of unanticipated revenue number 23-158 in the amount of $842,885 derived from MD1 Hidden Lakes operating transfers in special districts to buildings and improvements for fiscal year 2023-2024. 4 votes are required. Discussion and consideration of approval of transfer of appropriations number 23-158 in the amount of $4,541,797 from ARPA other charges, professional and specialized services, and appropriations for contingencies for operating transfers out enterprise and fiscal year 2023-2024. 4 votes are required.
Thank you.
Hello, once again. These budget adjustments consist of the transfers necessary to allow for the appropriations for the 2 public works projects that were also approved by your board on May 7, 2024. This would allow the transfer from the ARPA funds into the 2 public works budgets. And with that, I'm available for any questions.
Very good. Are there any questions for Jessica? Seeing and hearing none, are there any members of the public that have any questions?
No comments online.
No comments. I'll bring the item back for action.
Move to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor McCauley. Sorry, excuse me. Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley.
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Chairman Poitras.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you. 6F.
County Administration Department, discussion and consideration of entering into a grant agreement with Eastern Madera County Foundation in the amount of $150,000 to be funded by the County American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA, allocations for fiscal year 2023-2024, and authorize the chairman to sign.
Hello, this is the grant agreement with Eastern Madera County Foundation. This is in the amount of $150,000, also related to the May 7th from ARPA into Eastern Madera County Foundation.
Thank you. Are there any questions of my colleagues regarding this item? There are none. Are there any members of the public that have any questions regarding this? Nobody online?
No comments online.
I'll bring the item back for action.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor McCauley.
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Chairman Poitras.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you. 6G.
County Administration Department, Probation Department, discussion and consideration to adopt a resolution amending the fiscal year 2023-2024 schedule of allocated positions within the Probation Department to add 0.05 full-time employee supervising district attorney investigator.
Yes, good morning, Chairman, members of the board. Sabrina Mendez, Department of Human Resources. The item before you is a request to amend the position allocation within the Probation Department. On May 23rd, 2023, the Community Corrections Partnership Executive Committee approved annual funding for 1/2 or a 0.5 FTE supervising DA investigator or district attorney investigator. And I'm available for any questions as well as DA Moreno and Chief Childers.
Very good. Thank you. Are there any questions regarding this
I
item?
just have a
Supervisor?
I just have a comment. I love the intercooperation between law enforcement departments that gets the job done. I really appreciate you folks. The limited resources work with. I don't know what to say about that. Our state doesn't appreciate safety. So thank you.
Are there any other comments from the board? Are there any comments from the public? Anybody online?
No comments
Nope.
online.
Very good. I'll bring the item back for action.
Move to approve.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh?
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez?
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley?
Yes.
Chairman Poitras?
Yes,
Vote passes 5-0.
thank you. 6H.
County Administration, excuse me, I'm so sorry. Human Resources Department, Sheriff Coroner's Office, discussion and consideration to adopt a resolution amending the fiscal year 2023-2024 schedule of allocated positions for Sheriff's Office as followed. Fund 1, full-time employee administrative analyst 1-22 classification. Unfund 1, full-time employee program assistant 1-22 senior classification.
Yes, good morning again. This is also an item requesting to amend the allocated position only within the sheriff's office, the jail division. In a review of their current operations, it was determined there was a need for an administrative analyst 1/2 in place of a program assistant 1/2 senior to provide budgetary and analytical support. And I'm available for any questions, as well as Assistant Sheriff Brian Esteves.
Very good, thank you. Are there any questions for Sabrina? Seeing and hearing none, anybody from the public have a comment regarding this item? Anybody online?
No comments online.
I'll bring the item back for action.
Move to approve.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh?
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez?
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley?
Yes.
Chairman Poitras?
Yes,
Vote passes 5-0.
thank you. 6I.
Human Resources Department, classification and compensation study implementation, various units, side letters, and unrepresented employees. Discussion and consideration to adopt side letters of agreement with the postgraduate licensed professionals, professional and service bargaining units regarding implementation of negotiated items related to the classification and comp study effective June 21, 2024. Discussion and consideration to adopt a step placement process as described in excuse me, Attachment A on behalf of impacted unrepresented employees effective June 1st, 2024. Discussion and consideration to adopt a step placement process as described in Attachment B on behalf of impacted department heads excluding elected officials effective June 21st, 2024.
Yes, good morning again. I did want to note that attachment A, I believe, was passed out. There was an amendment to attachment A, which is a list of the employee allocations for unrepresented employees. And so that is a revision that was presented to you. There's also additional copies available for the public if they so wish to have one. So this item I'm actually really excited to bring before you. I think it is a reflection of progress in implementing the class and comp study. And so following the completion of the classification and compensation study conducted by Coffin Associates, it was presented to the Civil Service Commission at their meeting on January 23rd, 2024. And subsequently, Human Resources did meet with the various units. And today before you are side letters with the PGLP professional and service units. So additionally, before you is consideration of approval of step placements for the impacted unrepresented employees, as well as department heads. And this is for your review and consideration. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions for Sabrina? Any comments? Board? Hearing none, any members of the public? Comments?
No
Anybody
comments
online?
online.
I'll
Very
move
good.
to approve.
I'll
And
second.
Chair, on that motion, is that with the swapping of the backup?
With the amendment.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very good. We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley.
Yes.
Chairman Poitras.
Yes,
Vote passes 5-0.
thank you. 6J.
Human Resources Department, set salaries for classifications, various bargaining units, and unrepresented employees. Discussion and consideration of approval to set salary range for classifications within the postgraduate licensed professional and service bargaining units as recommended by Civil Service Commission effective June 21, 2024. Discussion and consideration of approval to set salary ranges for the impacted and unrepresented classifications and department heads effective June 21st, 2024.
Yes, so the Civil Service Commission did take action at their meeting on June 13th, 2024 to adopt the classification specifications within the PGLP professional and service units, as well as unrepresented classifications, and recommends to your board the outlined range placements in those attachments. So additionally, if the request for setting the salary for department heads is approved today, then the department head job descriptions and a salary resolution will be brought forth at the July 2nd meeting for consideration of adoption and approval.
Very good. Thank you. Are there any questions for Sabrina? Are there any members of the public that have a comment or question regarding this item?
No comments online.
I'll bring the item back for action.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley.
Yes.
Chairman Poitras.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. Great reports. 6K.
Public Works Department, Administrative Services Division. Discussion and consideration of approval of a receipt of unanticipated revenue number 23-144 in the amount of $3,488,458 derived from Measure T RMA roads miscellaneous reimbursements other to intra-fund transfers for fiscal year 2023-2024. 4 votes are required.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Andrea Saldati, Deputy Director with Public Works. Before you this morning is an RUR for us to be able to receive a reimbursable claim from our Measure T folks, MCTC. It is roughly a $3 million claim. And with this claim, what we will be doing is we will be repaying the cash flow loan that we took from the high-speed rail fund in totality. So this would be the last repayment back into that fund. We did take out a cash flow loan so that we could expedite the construction. And so we've been able to pay back everything. And so with the approval of this RUR, we will have paid back that loan in full. I'm available for any questions.
Very good. Are there any questions regarding this item?
Just a quick comment,
Yes.
Chair. It's been a long time coming, I think, getting this project completed. Phase 3 of a 3-phase project to get, Road 200 fixed up so we can, really pull traffic off of 41, make that road safer. But more than anything, I just want to commend staff for getting this project done creatively. I think when I started working for the county, started working for Supervisor Wheeler, he had a great article on his wall that said, they're running Madera County like a business. And to me, this is the pudding. This is the proof that, we are going and doing that work, running the county like a business to ensure that we're making good use of tax dollars. And so, again, I commend staff for their work on this project and getting this delivered for the community. So thank you.
Great job. Thank you. Any other comments?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a comment just on the importance of Measure T. What would our county look like without these funds? It's a critical component of our county. And, so when renewals come up, consider these projects and when you're looking at a potential renewal of Measure T.
Very good. Thank you. Any other comments? Are there any members of the public that have a comment regarding this item? Anybody online?
No comments online.
Very good. I'll bring the item back for action.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Chairman Poitras.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you. Mr. Varney, is there any pending legislation that we should discuss?
No pending legislation, but it will send out a PDF of the budget. Came out, I think, Friday morning. I'll send it out to the,
Very good. Thank you.
that would be the state's budget.
Okay. Moving on to supervisor and staff reports. I'll start to my right. Supervisor Wamhoff.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, yesterday I had the opportunity to go to Fresno State and participate in an event where our newest congressional member, Vince Fong, spoke. And it was nice. It was his first official event after getting sworn in, I guess 12 days on the job. So it was fun to go and listen to him and see what his vision for uh, the valley was, and got a better understanding of what he's about. Really a policy guy, and with his position previously in the state assembly, he was very creative in getting some things done and utilizing lots of resources to accomplish goals. I had the opportunity to speak with him specifically regarding Highway 41 and how the state has its housing goal of 2 million homes by 2030, even though the state spent $23 billion and they've only accomplished 300,000 rooftops. So the state has these big lofty goals of adding rooftops, but doesn't want to add dollars to the critical infrastructure that is required to have that number of rooftops. So we're going to be we set the stage for a further conversation to find creative ways to fund those critical infrastructure projects that necessitate the housing goals.
Very good. Thank you very much. Supervisor Gonzalez.
Just an announcement that tomorrow there will be a Juneteenth celebration at Courthouse Park, and I believe it's at 10 a.m. And former City Council member Donald Hawley will be recognized amongst others. And so everyone is welcome, and that's where I will present the proclamation on the board's behalf.
Very good. Thank you. I'd like to mention last Friday I had an opportunity to go to the 45th anniversary of EVAPCO in Madera. And it was also coincided with the opening of their newest building to help them manufacture a new commercial air conditioning unit. And it was also the 48th anniversary to the date of the incorporation of EVAPCO. And it was, EVAPCO is an outstanding company. They have really been a wonderful employer for Maderans. And, a lot of times we forget about the contributions of private industry and what it means here in Madera. But they mentioned their president was there. He's 84 years old and still, didn't think they were going to get him off the stage. The guy's got so much energy, he just kept going on. But he mentioned that I believe that they have an ESOP and they have something like 100 millionaires company wide. And I think 70% of them were from the plant. So that shows you that, with their structure, anybody in the entire organization could become a millionaire, and with their hard work and the type of contribution that EVAPCO makes to their employees. So it was a great opening. They're growing and expanding, and the best is yet to come here for EVAPCO in Madera. Supervisor McCauley.
Thank you, Chairman. A couple things to report. Received a update from our friends over at Fish and Wildlife. Sounds like we've got our first official sighting of nutria in the San Joaquin River, which is quite unfortunate. If you're familiar with nutria, they're extremely destructive in our canals and our rivers. We've also got our first case of chronic waste disease. And if you're a hunter, you're probably familiar with this. It's a disease that affects our elk and our deer and other animals of that nature. And essentially, it gets into their brain and turns it into Swiss cheese, and they wander around until they die on the road or out in the wilderness. So folks are being asked to report any sightings of nutria to Fish and Wildlife. And if you are a hunter, please get in touch with Fish and Wildlife, have them test your tagged deer. And if you see any on the side of the road, again, contact Fish and Wildlife. They're really trying to get a handle on how widespread it is in Madera County. In addition to that, I had the opportunity to speak with folks at the Little Church on the Hill in the cemetery in Oakhurst, their 130-year anniversary. Happy to speak with them. And then tomorrow I will have the opportunity to meet with the Eastern Madera County SPCA volunteers and talk with them. Want to thank Amy Toller for coming up and visiting with them. That is all.
Too bad the nutria aren't affected by that disease.
Would be convenient, wouldn't it?
It would be good. Supervisor Rogers.
Yes, while I was on vacation, Coachella School District broke ground on one of their big bond projects. It's a transportation facility there. Moving forward. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Barney.
We come from a state where they have a big problem with the hepatic wasting disease. Yes, it sounds like a strange ask, but it's a very important ask. And remember, the nutria is a super invasive species and needs to go. But other than that, I have nothing to report. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Council.
Chair, no report. Thank you.
Clerk of the board.
Oh, I would just like to wish Melissa De Silva a happy belated birthday.
Very good. Thank you.
Melissa doesn't celebrate birthdays, only Flag Day.
That's great. Happy birthday. Happy Flag Day. And with that, we'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you.